Zachary Quinto, lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
How are you today?
I'm very well. How are you?
Very good. Let me introduce you to the beautiful Edith Bowman.
Hello, Edith.
I'm sorry, I'm late.
No, you're here just on time.
Thank you.
Now, you play a youthful Spock in the new Star Trek movie. And we've got so many questions about Star Trek and about heroes. But I just wanted to start off with the one thing I think most people know about Spock, and that is he's a very serious man, isn't he? He's a very straight-faced man. And I was wondering, when you're filming this, and I like watching DVD extras when people corpse, when people crack up and into laughter, and I'm wondering how, when you are playing one of the most famous straight-faced characters ever, how you can manage that to keep that up for the whole movie.
Well, my biggest challenge was a gentleman named Simon Pegg, as your listeners are probably well familiar. There's a scene in the movie, in fact, they've been showing it as clips, like when we're doing press, so... there's a scene in the movie when Simon comes onto the deck of the ship, and Spock is in a particularly unsettled place, and he needs some answers to some questions real fast, and he's interrogating Captain Kirk, or he's not Captain at the time, he's interrogating Kirk and Scotty. And there's just this line that Simon has, I'm saying something very serious, like, "You will tell me how you managed to beam on board this ship today." He's like, "Can I get a towel?" and it was born out of the moment. It was an unscripted moment that I literally, you guys, it took like a half hour for me to pull it together. Every time he did it, I would just lose. So, for me as an actor, it's those moments are actually, as long as they don't cross the line, it's really fun to be pulled out of the gravity of certain situations sometimes. And this cast is full of people who are able to make that happen. Simon being chief among them.
Scottish accent's not bad as well.
Not bad, no. It's probably better than mine.
It's your feature film debut, Star Trek.
Yeah.
So a nice small one.
It's a little. It's kind of a certain way to start.
No pressure.
No, none. It's really interesting to go from my television experience, which is what I've been spending most of my time doing for the past 8 years, to something like this. Certainly feels like 0 to 60, but I'm really, really excited, and I had a great time doing it, and I genuinely believe that what we've made is unique but respectful of the history of this franchise that's clearly generated avid fan base for almost 50 years. It's really exciting. It's really exciting.
It's going to introduce a whole new generation of fans as well.
It's the goal, I think, to really, invite new people into the experience. And I don't think at all that you have to be a Star Trek fan to be a fan of this movie. It's JJ's mandate in the beginning was really to tell a good story. It just so happens that story takes place on the bridge of a spaceship as we're hurtling through the galaxy trying to save planets. But the core of the movie is about the characters and about their relationships and about their internal struggles and how they work to define themselves and choose their path in life. And I think that's what good movies are about.
Were you a Trekkie?
No, not at all, really.
Can you do the...
I can.
One hand up, I can't do that.
I can. That's the way I am, too.
Yeah. Can we say Trekkies, or is it Trekkers?
There's some debate. There's some debate. Some people are in the Trekker camp, but other people live in the Trekkie camp. I feel like we know who we're talking about, don't we?
Tea Club.
The Trekkers and/or Trekkies, they're going to love the fact that also Leonard Nimoy is in the movie, who they will know from the original TV show.
Some people might have heard of him.
And there's a sort of time travel thing. I don't want to go into it too much,
but better not.
That's the reason why he's there. Now, he seems quite amazing from what I've read about him, because you read about him, and not only is he an actor, but he's sort of a poet and a photographer and things like this.
He's a true Renaissance man, and it's really interesting. He had his experience with his character was very, very specific and in some ways restrictive. There was still a stigma attached to science fiction 40 years ago that doesn't really exist today. People's attention spans were much more enduring then, so he became really inextricably tied to this character. And I think as an actor, it sort of put him in a position where maybe he didn't have as many opportunities available to him as he would have otherwise. And part of what makes him such an incredible man is that in the face of that, he continued to redefine himself as an artist, and his creative journey just took a much more varied route. He became a director, he became a writer, he became a photographer. He has one of the most amazing art collections I've ever seen in someone's house. I mean, he's just got such style and taste, and he's such a graceful man that getting to hang out with him is kind of just rad.
That also included a musical career as well.
Yeah,
As did William Shatner.
A little Bilbo Baggins action, a little Rocket Man.
And he directed Three Men and a Baby.
He directed 3 Men and a Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little
I mean,
known
No
fact.
way.
the list is endless.
Also,
really,
Good
isn't it?
Mother and 2 of the
Love
Star
that
Trek
film.
films. Yeah, he's a pretty impressive man, and I feel oftentimes when I'm hanging out with him that if I can live half as fulfilled a life as he has, then I'll be in good stead.
Was he? Were you kind of? I don't know. Were you scared about filling the shoes that he had already? With that history of the
Well,
show. Then, or was...
Leonard wears a 10.
Oh, okay.
And I wear a 10.5, so it was
You
a
all
little
right
bit. It was a little bit no. Leonard actually did have contractual approval over the actor to take over the role as a condition of him being in the movie.
Wow.
So I knew from the time that I got the role that he was supportive of it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten the role. And so that took pressure off almost immediately. And then getting to know him, meeting him, talking to him, seeing how available he was and invested in this process he was. Really, I didn't feel pressure, which may sound strange in something this big, but I think JJ has a tremendous amount to do with that as well. Someone who's so gifted and so authentic and so passionate about telling stories. He really infused me with a sense of confidence that set up a good framework for me to go to work, and really do what it is that I needed to do.
I'd like to ask about the fans. We haven't briefly mentioned them. But I've been to a few sci-fi conventions in my time. I'm not going to deny it. But no, seriously, because you go in thinking one thing. Oh, these are going to be a bunch of geeks here. And actually, I came out with huge respect for these people who utterly, are passionate about their subject.
Right.
Dressed as Chewbacca,
but you're dressed as Neo from the Matrix. But whatever
Chewbacca
floats your boat.
which did not go over. It landed like a lead balloon. It's all good. I'll work on it for next time.
How many of these things have you been to? How many fans have you met?
I've only done 2 conventions, and both of them were with Leonard, which is, I gotta tell you, like the coolest way to do it. We were on stage together, did a Q&A together, and to watch the way he deals with it is a great template. They've been doing it a while. They kind of know how it goes, and I took a page from that book, and I don't know, the convention element of it is certainly something that I'm sure we'll all engage in periodically, but I know for myself as an actor that this being my first feature film, I really consider a career of longevity and of diversity the way I want it to go. So I have to do the work to make that happen, and I don't necessarily know that dropping in on Star Trek conventions every month or 2 is exactly how that'll be. So we'll see what my relationship to that world will be. But my experience of them has been similar to yours, which is that the people are incredibly enthusiastic, very supportive, and very excited about the stuff that we're doing. And I feel like that's a great place to be. So I similarly was surprised by the intelligence and the enthusiasm that I was met with when I had those experiences in the past couple of years.
You get those fans with Heroes as well, though, don't you?
I do, to a certain extent, yes. Heroes has its own specific and unique following of people. And on that show, of course, I play a psychopathic, superpowered serial killer. So the people that gravitate toward that character might even be a little more scary than the people that gravitate toward a character like Spock.
You do scary so well in Heroes.
Thank you.
Terrifying.
Thank you.
Almost like it feels like it's there's not much. I don't know. It's really subtle scariness, if that makes sense.
Thanks.
That must kind of get you out of really good situations in real life if you just turn on the Siler. In the Siler stare.
I will say that it
move
has
away from me.
It has at times allowed me to stay isolated from people. If I don't really feel like being approached, there's a certain look that I can give that might keep them away from me. But Spock is such a magnanimous character and so open and so interested in humanity and the advancement of humanity that might cancel each other out. We'll see.
What's the plan with Heroes? I'm kind of catching up with the second series.
With the second series?
Yeah.
So we just finished work on the 3rd series, and that's airing now in the States. I don't know how far behind. I think it's airing here too, but yeah. And then we go back. We've been greenlit for a 4th series as well. So we're going back to the show this summer, and we're going to do 18 episodes instead of this last season was 25. So we're scaling back a little bit for myriad reasons, which I think will be really good creatively. I think it's nice to have a little bit of a truncated season in which to tell our stories because it's such a sprawling cast and world.
It's such a great show. I absolutely love it.
Oh, thanks.
What if you've probably been asked this question a gazillion times, but if you could
Invisibility.
He's a mind reader as well.
Yeah,
Jolly.
I already got that one. Yeah, I would, if I had to choose a superpower, what would it be?
Yeah,
Is
but
that
you
what
can
you're
make
asking?
one up though. It doesn't have to be one that a kind of one of those ones. It could be anything. Walk in a room and everyone finds you attractive.
Wow, I'll take that too.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side of that, invisibility.
Once, they think
So
you've
that
left, but you're still
so that
in the
all
room.
of a sudden, like a room full of people are just like, I feel it's an attractive energy in here. I don't know who it is, but there's nobody there because I'm invisible, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't work as well. But yeah, I don't know. I have been asked that, but that's what I would say, because then you don't have to wait in line. You can sort of make off and go where you need to go and just do your thing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
Right,
That's
we're
pretty
going to
good, right?
sample that. We're going to put a dance beat underneath it.
It's going to be my ringtone.
Yeah.
It should be. But this is the weird thing about it. I have been walking all over the world since I saw the movie for the first time. Everywhere I go, I'm like walking down hotel hallways, like whistling the theme song of the movie. It's so bizarre.
It's my movie.
I don't know why. It's just Michael Giacchino did the music. I mean, the thing that for me is most exciting about this experience, having seen the movie, is to know that, yeah, we're the faces and we're traveling around and we're talking about it and what our experience has been. But the reality is that there were nearly 1,000 people that made this movie happen. And so when I see the movie, I feel like one small piece of this enormous puzzle. And it's really quite humbling and so gratifying to see that all of these people who are like the best at what they do, contributing 100% of their energy and enthusiasm to bring something like this to bear. It's so impressive, and Michael Giacchino did the music is literally a genius, and also the sound design of the film. Like these elements that you'll see, there's a sequence in the beginning of the movie where a ship is attacked, and there's all this explosive chaos all around, and you see a torpedo rip through the hull of the ship, and this woman's running, and she just gets sucked out of the ship, and it's all this chaos, and as soon as she gets sucked out of the ship, it's just silence. And like that is just such a reflection, I think, of the creative spirit behind this, which is, these kinds of conversations that JJ's having with all these people that are working with him to come up with the world that they're creating, and it's really. For me, it's very exciting. I don't often feel proud of myself. I just don't. It's like, I feel grateful a lot and I feel excited a lot. But like, it's hard for me to be like, oh, I'm really proud of something. And I am enormously proud to be a part of this ensemble and to be a part of this project. And I just really hope that people are as excited about it as we are. That's my feeling going on.
We've just got a quick hello from someone before we go.
Who's that?
I'm going to take you back to Los Angeles last year.
Okay.
You and JJ,
Yeah.
I think, were hanging out with Chris Moyles.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Presenter from
Of
Radio
course.
1.
Yeah.
Who says hi. I think
Oh.
there was a joke about a ham sandwich.
There was a joke about it.
Do you want to explain that to people who didn't hear it?
There were just along the way, this was a 6-month shoot, and along the way there were just sort of silly little behind-the-scenes jokes, and somehow, somewhere along the line, JJ was eating a ham sandwich for lunch, and so it became a thing that we would just say all the time. Like, it's like completely unfunny now that we're talking about it again, but it was kind of done in a high pitch, like, ham sandwich, and like JJ and I would do it back and forth. And when Chris was interviewing JJ, he asked JJ if there was anything that I would, if there was one thing that I knew JJ would say to Chris related to me and our experience of filming the movie together. And then when Chris interviewed me, he asked me, is there any one thing that JJ would have told me that you would understand? It was like a message that was relayed through Chris to me back to JJ. It was a sort of intergalactic,
Ham sandwich.
futuristic ham sandwich. Yeah,
I'm going
there
to
you
do
go.
that to you now then.
Go
Simon
for it.
Pegg's on tomorrow.
Uh,
Anything you'd like to ask Simon Pegg?
Can I get a towel? Please.
I'll ask him where that came from.
Yeah. Can I get a towel? Well, it's clear in the movie why he says it, but you'll see and you'll know that it's a very intense moment of the film, but really I was just trying to keep it together. Hope I succeeded.
Zachary, thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Thanks
Cheers.
so much.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
Thank you, yeah.
Cheers.